It's such a nice day to take a day off. So I thought I would just share with you what I do on a day off. Pretty simple things. We forget sometimes what retirement's all about. Our golden years. We don't have too many left. So it's good to do things that you really enjoy. We're going to do that today. So today, I thought I would introduce you to my mistress. A little older, with experience, with good body and mind, great sense, good history, good to learn from people with experience, or seniors, or retired. Let me introduce you. Come on. There is no secret to longevity. We're all like a fine-tuned machine. We got to maintain ourselves. Like my mistress here. This is 96 years old and still running. Let me show you. This is a great spray-on wax, which in the same way, it's like keeping ourselves polished. So we can well perform. Look good, take care of ourselves. Get some exercise. Be sure to take your meds, because when we're retired, some of us take meds, and that's okay. It prolongs our lives. So it's amazing how I have such respect for this car. Not that I'm a car buff or enthusiast. This is my first car, actually, I've really, really worked on. And I enjoy it because it does have history. And I look into that history and I learn a lot, especially Henry Ford, who actually developed this car. And over 4 million cars were produced in a short time. I think it was less than 3 years. So can you imagine that? So there is over 500,000 of these cars still registered. And why is that? Well, because Henry Ford wanted to build a car that would last the test of time. And I think he did it with this car. Well, let's put that in perspective. For example, checking our oil in our cars. Why do we do that? To get the best life or the longest life out of your car. Very important. So I check the oil on this car all the time. I'm sure many owners before me, did the same thing. And it's still here 96 years later. We can do the same thing. Maintain ourselves. Be sure to take our meds, like I said. And, continue to take care of your health. That's really important. And you'll get the best out of your life, just like your car. We can learn a lot from history. So this car is a good testament of what happens when you take care of things. Of course, when you don't as well. So this car has taught me a lot. I kind of look at things a little differently now. I hear so much about people who complain about getting old and retirement. But not me. I keep myself busy, active, and I keep moving. I don't park myself like parking this car. I just keep the tires rolling. And as we get older, we think a lot. I think a lot about my past. And sometimes I have to stop myself about some things that I carry guilt. And we don't have to do that. Of course, we wish we can go back and do it all over again, but we can't. And it is what it is. So you got to move on. You can't be guilty. Emotional guilt is really another killer. As you get older, people are going to pass away. That's a fact. You have to be able to accept that and realize that. We're going to lose our spouse, and maybe you have already. Maybe you've lost relatives, children. But you can't suffer for them. They're in peace now, and you can't be suffering for it. You got to move on. I'm sure they'd want you to do that. So think about that when you lose someone. It's so emotional. And you can tone it down. Of course, you'll never forget them. But I found that they're in peace. I've lost people in my life, and I always think they're in peace. They're not suffering anymore, or it leaves you to suffer when you don't have to. Just think about it. Suffering is over for them, and you got to move on with your life. So think about that. Well, retirement is keeping yourself busy. Finding out what your new passions can be, whether it's, gardening or reading or whatever. It keeps you occupied, keeps your brain, healthy. If you don't use it, you lose it, as they say. So that's something to think about. And that's why I stay busy. I keep projects going, and you can do the same. You got to get out of that chair. You got to get your muscles back together and be healthy. Use your brain. You gotta keep thinking. Otherwise, it just goes away. And then what do you do? So think about that. Keep yourself busy. Do things, and life will just continue to get better every day. You'll make improvements, and you'll become a part of a great history in your life. And longevity, it's there. You just got to work for it. Well, think about it. Every day is a new chance to make a change in life. Um, change your diet, go for a walk, things like that. It really depends on how you want to see life. Every new day could be a new chapter in your life. Think about that. You can make some changes. It's not the end, it's the beginning. Changing your diet, your habits, doing some exercise, whatever it may be. Something very small. You're making a change. You're making it better. So think about that. For retirees, it's just so wonderful to, look back at the history we have. That is something to really be proud of. The changes we've seen in our lives, the decades of changes. Like this phone, for instance, Alexander Bell. I mean, can you imagine? I remember having a phone like this, with the rotary dial. Young folks, they wouldn't know how to dial a number off this. They would just probably press the buttons like on a regular cell phone. But things have changed a lot, and we need to be thankful for all of that. We've gotten here. It's been a great success for all of us to live to this point. So be proud of what you are and what you've done in life. It's a great accomplishment that we all have. Something to really be proud of, no matter how small you think it is. To a lot of people, you carry a history. And if you could pass that on to your children, your grandchildren, other people you'll meet in life, it's a great responsibility we have to pass on the good stuff in life. And that's what I like to do. So I really enjoy making this video. Kind of brings me to new memories in my life of what I've done. And believe me, I've done a lot of things. So I reinvented myself. I can't tell you how many times, but it's been interesting. It's been a great trail. I love it. And I'm going to keep hiking through life, enjoying myself. So to everyone, the best to you. Enjoy your history. Enjoy what's out there. And remember, longevity, it's for anyone. Just enjoy your life, no matter how long you think you're going to live for. Live every day to the best of your ability. Thanks, guys.